From this country, with the U.S. up 1-0 here in the 37th minute, she is between two Guatemalan defenders and then goes down and stays down, and you will see why here shortly. That left ankle rolls badly. It's an ankle that has caused her to miss action in her career previously, in a lot of pain. She would be carted off. Her day would be done. Jill Ellis said it was a pretty bad sprain.
Hi, I'm Alex Sobochinsky, and today on ESPN we'll be discussing sprained ankles.
And I'm Sarah Antico. Sprained ankles are no laughing matter, especially for Alex Morgan. Unfortunately, Alex was forced to miss the CONCACAF tournament, which serves as a qualifier for the 2015 World Cup.
But first things first, what's a sprained ankle?
Well, sprained ankles occur when you make a rapid shifting movement with your foot planted. Often the ankle rolls outward and the foot rolls inward.
The person who sprained their ankle will almost immediately begin to feel pain, see immediate swelling and bruising, and most likely will not be able to put any weight on the foot.
Any person that experiences these symptoms after what they believe could have caused a sprained ankle should see a doctor immediately. However, the first treatment option before consulting a doctor for a sprained ankle is RICE, or rest ice compression elevation.
Then, it's probable that your doctor will choose to immobilize or splint the ankle. In Alex Morgan's case, she sprained her ankle when colliding with a Guatemalan player and immediately fell to the ground.
There was no mistaking with the way her ankle rolled that it was a sprained ankle. However, a medical professional did examine it to be sure.
As a soccer player, how often did you see other players
over the years, playing soccer, I've seen many athletes with ankle injuries. It's definitely something that you have to be careful of, especially when you're playing soccer. You're wearing low tops, so there's not much ankle support besides anything that you get wrapped on there by a trainer.
What do you believe is the best treatment option for an ankle sprain?
I would say the best treatment option for ankle sprain would be just to rest it, to stay off it. Once you feel more comfortable on it, to rehab it at that point and try to get strong enough to come back onto the field.
How do soccer's ankle sprains affect the rest of the team, especially in the case of Alex Morgan?
I might have to say it has a tremendous effect on the team. When you lose a premier player like that, your team really has to cope and try to get back to where it was without that key player. And there's a big hole there now.
Okay, thank you.
The best treatment option for sprained ankle is RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation. Rest the ankle by not walking on it. Ice the ankle several times a day to keep the swelling down. Compress the ankle with an elastic wrap. This will help control the swelling as well as immobilize and support the injury. Elevate the foot by reclining or propping it up above the waist or heart to also minimize the swelling.
I'm day one, no crutches, which is like moving onward and upward, which is awesome. But I was on crutches for 6 weeks, which was really hard because I definitely needed to ask for help a lot. I was a little helpless. I couldn't even carry a plate or a drink or whatever it was. It was like the little things that you don't realize, and obviously being an athlete, we don't reach out for help that often. We're kind of do-it-ourselves type of people, so it was an adjustment for me. Me and my crutches kind of went through an emotional roller coaster. I thought I was going to run them over after I was done using them, but they're still in my room, just sitting there patiently. I didn't expect when I sprained my ankle back in October, late October, that it would come to this, and that was the hardest part for me. Was kind of doubting myself, like, well, why didn't I take it easier? Why didn't I kind of pull myself out of training or out of a game? But you can't look back. You kind of just need to look forward. It was definitely hard, but I feel like now that I'm actually seeing improvement, we just got an MRI, and it kind of helps me a little bit mentally to be able to do bike a little bit, to be able to swim. I wasn't able to do anything on crutches, so now knowing that there's improvement, I'm able to do some stuff, I feel a lot more, I guess, happy. The second time I was told I had to go on crutches, that was 3 weeks after I'd already been on crutches. I I was positive that I was coming off crutches. I didn't even think there was another option, and we got a repeat MRI, and they said, we haven't seen improvement and you need to be on crutches for at least 3 more weeks. And that's when I kind of took a deep breath and was like, oh wow, like I didn't even know that this was a possibility. Finally, after talking with my friends and family and being around them a lot, I realized that, you know, it's whatever it is, it's meant to be. You know, I need a break and I need my body to rest. I'm hoping to be out of the boot in 2 weeks, and we're gonna do another repeat MRI in 4 weeks. So we're really hoping that in 4 weeks, my bone is healed. There's no signs of a bone bruise or any of that sort. I want to be back for preseason with the Thorns. I want to be able to, you know, play a game with the national team in the next 2 months. It's really nice being with the team here in Florida and just being around this sort of environment. It's very unique, and I have a lot of good friends on this team, so it's great just being around them every day. And Dawn and Rick, our trainer and fitness coach, are kicking my butt.